Hello and welcome to Jacked Up Being Frank. This is season 2, episode 4. I'm your host, season 2, episode 8. I'm your host, Jack Yablonowitz, here with my co-host Frank Arenio. Today, we'll be looking ahead to the NFL action as we'll preview the biggest matchups happening today, and we'll break down what to expect in the first quarter of each. Expect as we look at the first quarter of each game going on. We'll still give our previews of those games. The Knicks are dealing with some tough injury news on the NBA front, losing OG Anunoby for at least 2 weeks with a hamstring sprain, and Jalen Brunson hamstring strain, and then losing Jalen Brunson for about a few days with that sprain of the ankle. And we'll talk about what that means for the team going forward. I don't really think that means a lot, but we'll really preview all the big NBA stuff. But we want to start with Bills Tampa. So that's going on right now. The Bills are favored by about 5 to 6 points. Big game for both sides. Josh Allen versus Baker Mayfield. One of those, key games here.
Yeah, it's a great quarterback matchup. Both teams come in at 6-3. I mean, which team would you say that this is a bigger game for?
I think it's a bigger game for Buffalo. They need to get the win on this home they need to get the win at home. It's 3-0 Buccaneers right now. Bills looking like they're gonna score, get into Ty Johnson territory. I was gonna say James Cook territory, but they're looking to run the ball Ty Johnson right now. But they're gonna get in territory to score right now. But it's a big game for Buffalo. They're at home. Buccaneers are very good opponent for them, of course, but they got to get this win. It's going to be hard because Baker Mayfield's on the other side. It's a tough guy to take down, no matter if you're home or away. But if the Buccaneers if the Bills want to be thought of this high contender, they have to get a win like this at home. Take care of business. Even I know it sounds like the Buccaneers are bad, but they're not. They're not at all. They're very good. But this is a take care of business game for the Bills at home and for that fans. It's a big. They get a big home field advantage every single time they play in Highmark Stadium. So this is a big time. They need to get this win badly.
Yeah, they just scored a touchdown, so 6-3, extra point pending. Yeah, it's definitely a bigger game for the Bills. I mean, the Bucs, they have a playoff spot. I mean, in their division, they're unchallenged. So I think that's a big difference there. Where Tampa Bay, I mean, they want to be going into the playoffs, playing very well, and they got to shore some things up. They've had a good season and a great season so far, but they're guaranteed a spot. They're gonna win their division easily. Where Buffalo, I mean, they're in a tough situation in terms of division. Like I think the Patriots are clearly the favorites now. And then Buffalo right now has a wild card spot. They're in 6th in the AFC. I mean, they should make the playoffs. I think they will. But they haven't locked up a spot yet. So I think in terms of just playoff positioning, this is a bigger game for Buffalo.
Yeah, big game for Buffalo. Yeah, Josh Allen coming off. Was this the last game they had a very?
Well, they had a terrible loss.
Yeah, they had a terrible loss.
So they got to get back on track from that. I mean,
Yeah.
It was a terrible loss last week. One of the worst performances from the Bills in a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, since they've been on this run with Josh Allen, and they won the division 5 years in a row, and knocking at the door, haven't broke through to the Super Bowl yet. But yeah, I think this is definitely a bigger game for them. It's important for Tampa, but again, Tampa's going to be in the playoffs. I mean, they're going to win their division. They're going to get a home game in the first round. So, like you said, it's kind of a take care of business situation for the Bills, where they are at home and they should win on their home field.
Yeah. We got Chargers, Jaguars, another close game. I mean, this is two teams that are in a kind of weak division, you would say, a very weak division. But the Colts are really good. We were thinking that it was going to be a very weak division, but look at the Colts now at the top of that thing. So this is a big game.
Yeah, the Jaguars, their only chance is a wild card.
Yeah.
And they had that loss last week. I'm just going back. It was a bad loss from against the Texans. We talked about that on our show last week. How the Jaguars really need to win that game. They would have been 6-3 if they had that victory. I think still tough for them to get into the playoffs considering the competition. But being at 5-4 now, they are tied with the Chiefs. But the Chiefs are going to be there. I'm not worried about the Chiefs making the playoffs. They'll be there. Might be there as a wild card this year. But the Chiefs are going to be there. So I don't know what the path is for Jacksonville to get in. They're going to need someone to fall off. But again, the Chiefs will be there. The Bills are going to be there. So I don't see the path for Jacksonville to get to the playoffs. But if they're going to have any chance, they gotta protect home turf today against the Chargers.
Big game for them. Chargers been a very good team. They've been very solid. Defense always solid. Justin Herbert's been having a very good year. So we'll see if they can keep that up, get themselves a playoff spot, especially in a division where they will probably be getting the wild card because of how good the Colts are, and how they look like they're gonna have no brakes on that truck that's running through the NFL.
Yeah, I don't think the Jaguars have any chance at division. I think the Colts are going to win that easily. Chargers interesting division. They're alive. They're a game back at Denver. We kind of questioned how good Denver is. As an AFC West, do you think the Chiefs still have a chance to climb the ladder in the division and win the division?
Where's the division standing?
So right here, we're looking at it. So the Chiefs.
I think that Denver's been winning a lot of games, especially from that defense, and also the Chargers been very good. I think that they're running into two teams in Denver and Chargers that are just very solid. I don't feel like they're gonna fall off, especially if you give them. I think the Chiefs are gonna have a very good few games. I think they're definitely gonna get back going, but that doesn't mean they're gonna be the top of their division, because of how good the Chargers are and how stable they are, and how good the Broncos are at the defensive end. So,
yeah, I'm looking at the Chiefs' schedule. So they are at Denver today.
Yeah, big game.
Yeah, and then so at Denver today, you mentioned that to start the program. So this is their chance today in the division. They clearly got to win this game to have a chance to win the division.
Yeah, this is certainly a big game for the Chiefs. We'll talk about that later after.
Yeah, and they got the Broncos twice still. They haven't played them yet. So they lost to the Chargers. That was the game in Brazil to start the season. Then they host the Chargers in a few weeks. So that today's the make or break for the Chiefs. They have to win this game. Yeah. I think they will. I just do. Yeah. I think the Chiefs, like they gave kind of I don't want to say coasted through the season, but it's been a struggle for them. They're sitting at 5-4, but you can never count them out. I just think from here they're gonna climb the ladder, and they're gonna get themselves in a position where they can make a run come playoff time. And today's one of those games where they have to step up. If they want to win the division, at least get a home game in the first round. I don't think they're gonna get themselves in a position where they're gonna get to the number one seed and get a bye. I don't think that's happening. But this is their opportunity today to give themselves a chance at the division. And just personally, I feel like they're gonna get it done. I know they're going to Denver, to Mile High, as I call Mile High anymore. I don't believe in Denver's offense. They rely on their defense is a great defense, but I think with their lack of offensive production, they're gonna have trouble keeping pace with Kansas City today.
Yeah, Denver's been very good getting it done. You can see there's been a lot of games where Denver has came back. Especially against my New York Giants. So that doesn't really tell you a lot, but they get it done. They get it. They know how to get it done, but they really need to keep up with it offensively. They're not going to be able to play it against the Giants every week, of course, but they do figure out how to get it done late in games. The Broncos do with their defense. They're very solid, but it's the Chiefs we're talking about. Even they show cracks against the Raiders. They come out and get a win, but they only put up 7 points. They know what the game plan is at hand. They know the defense is great. They know they can keep this team to 7 points, but they're gonna have to put up more than than 10 points to beat a Chiefs team. But it's not just credit their defense. Their defense is great, but even against the Texans eking out a win 18-15. I mean, it's
Yeah, I think Denver is fortunate to be 8-2. I don't really look. I mean, look, you are what your record says you are. Bill Parcells said that a long time ago, and it's true. But not every 8-2 record, or whatever the record is built the same. I think. I think that their record doesn't tell the story of the season they had.
Yeah.
I don't think they've been as good as their record says.
But to be fair, the win against the Philadelphia Eagles was pretty good for them. But they've even had. It's a weird team to really look at, even if they're 8-2, because you see cracks where they aren't the best 8-2 team ever.
Well, look at the teams that they've beat. I mean, they did beat the Eagles on the road, so that's a good win. They lost to the Colts. They lost to the Chargers, both close games early in the year. But they started off with a win against the Titans. Unimpressive 20-12 opening day. They took care of business against the Bengals. I think that was out without Joe Burrow. I'm not 100% sure. They beat the Jets. They beat the Giants. That Giants game, I mean, it was a miracle.
Yeah, Jake Browning was handing people the wins.
I mean, they beat up on the Bengals, but no Burrow.
No Flacco either. Flacco's been very good. Let's shout out Flacco. Joe Flacco's been very good at his age. So not even without him. Not even him either.
And then the win against the Giants, I mean, it took basically a miracle. It was a miraculous comeback. Denver deserves credit for the comeback, but the Giants were dominating them 3.5 quarters of that game.
Yeah.
They beat the Cowboys.
Rookie quarterback was picking them apart. Like the rookie was picking them apart. Both rookies were picking them apart.
Yeah. They beat the Cowboys. Okay, they beat them by 3 touchdowns. Okay. Put up a bunch of points against a bad Cowboys defense. And then, you said the Texans win, kind of ugly. The Raiders win was ugly. And even the Jets win. That game was in wherever it was in Europe. Was that London or Germany? I forget.
Yeah.
But that was an ugly game. That was an ugly win. I mean, their offense in that game really struggled against a Jets defense that had really been struggling before that. So I'm just not impressed by the body of work. They are 8-2. Credit for that. But I feel like they're going to come back down to earth. I think today is the day that they come back down to earth. And I'm going to say I don't think they're going to win a division. I don't know if it's going to be Kansas City. I don't know if it's going to be Los Angeles, but I feel pretty confident Denver's not going to win the division.
Yeah, but you just see, yes, I do understand that that's why they are a very hard team to kind of analyze, because they are 8-2, and they did beat the Eagles in a game in Lincoln Financial. That's right?
Yeah.
They beat them there, and that's a very hard game to win, and especially against the Eagles, which whatever we talk about, they lost to the Giants, whatever. They're still a very good, great team, and they're coming off a Super Bowl, and they're playing very well. To beat that team is huge, shows you something. But again, you show games against the Jets where they win, but still at the end of the day, and not impressive. Basically, in a loss for their standards, I would think. I mean, win's a win, but I think Sean Payne's being like, we need to fix something to only win by 2 against the Jets. Sorry, but winning by 2 against Jets. If you're the Broncos, you need to fix something. But at the end of the day, there are positives and negatives to this team. It's hard to analyze, but I don't really think they're an 8-2 team. But they are a pretty solid football team under Sean Payne. I think that's something and they're going to be in the playoffs, and that defense is going to cause maybe a explosive offense some problems. But, Bo Nix does not had a very good sophomore season, even if they are 8-2. So, you could say playoff game, we're going to bring pressure to Bo Nix, and we're going to expose how he's been not very good in the second season.
They're just one of those teams.
Yeah.
I think when the big games come, they're not going to show up.
Also, the QB has not been very good at all this season. It's been very weird to see see Bo Nix, have a great season last year. Looking at he's the franchise. He still is for them. He's still the franchise for the Broncos, but he's not been very good at all this season. And also Courtland Sutton's good and all, but I never really am really sold on him being the alpha, being the wide receiver 1, the guy that we want to give him the ball. He's a good wide receiver. Made a good career out of it. I mean, he's been a very good wide receiver. Him and Bo Nix have a great connection, but has made a great career. Not saying anything about that, but you look around the league at the wide receivers, and you look at Cortland Sutton, it's real like, it's bringing in as we bring back to baseball, it's bringing in a B tier reliever when other teams are throwing out A tier relievers. So, but he made a good career out of it, and we'll see how they do. But Sutton, I really feel like you look around the league, and there's definitely better alpha receivers than that. I feel like that's a bad way to analyze it, but at the end of the day, it is the only way I can really kind of show Broncos against another team. But yeah, the Bills do have the problem as well. They don't really have that wide receiver one, but I think that
the Bills have Josh Allen.
Yes, and there's gonna be other teams that Ibuka, Chris Godwin, Evans will not come back, but those are wide receiver. Those are awful wide receiver ones. Maybe Godwin is a wide receiver two. Ibuka's been amazing in his rookie season, so that's a team that you look at, and they have a wide receiver one, and they have Baker Mayfield. So that's kind of my granular analysis of this, because they don't really have that wide receiver one. You look around the league, even at the teams like the Buccaneers, Chargers with Ladd McConkey, Colts don't really have one, but Tyler Warren's been a beast this season at the tight end position. But you see teams with that guy they pass the ball to, and Sutton's good. He's made a good career out of it, but I don't really, there's better players, and there's better players play at that alpha receiver one position. So.
Yeah, I mean it's personnel, as you just described, and again, it's just looking at their body work. They're just a team to me that is fortunate to be 8-2, and it was those back-to-back weeks. They played the Jets, they played the Giants, and it's like, the Jets could have won that game in again, wherever it was in Europe. Like, that was a very winnable game for the Jets. The Jets cost themselves. And then the Giants, I mean, what they did for 3.5 quarters in that game, like that to me is just eye-opening. You're playing the Jets and Giants back-to-back weeks, and you won both of the games, but you easily could have been 0-2.
I also think the Giants game was a little bit more like, warning, because the defense that we always say is great was getting dotted up by Jackson Dart. I mean, Jackson Dart's great and all, but it's a rookie. I mean, you would think to put pressure on that rookie, but they really weren't able to do a lot. I mean, Jackson Dart's great. He's going to be amazing in the future, but if you want to be the Broncos, that's what got to be your calling card. You got to rattle that rookie. You got to be like, we're here. That's our calling card. We're rattling a rookie at quarterback. That's what all the great defensive teams are doing. Let's be honest, they're looking at the top. They're looking to be at the top of the top. That Broncos team with Sean Payton. That's what they got to do. They got to make sure that rookie quarterback, if they have to sack them, make that uncomfortable for the rookie quarterback. But that rookie quarterback was looking amazing. So imagine if you see a team like the Buccaneers with Baker Mayfield, or you see teams like that where you cannot put pressure on them. So,
well, I think today's going to be a good test. If they come out and they beat the Chiefs today, I mean, I'm still not going to be a believer in them. I just don't see them getting it done in the playoffs. But if they win today, it's like, okay, you're giving credit for that. Like they've raised their stock, but again, you look at their body of work. You look at their struggles on offense and with their quarterback with Knicks, and then you just compare them to the competition, the AFC. I mean, I don't see them beating these teams in the AFC in the playoffs. And maybe they win a round, but I don't see anything more than that. I kind of think of the Vikings last year. The Vikings went 14-3, and we talked about them a lot. I said the whole year. I'm wrong plenty.
Vikings are always, when you lose to Daniel Jones in the playoff game, I never really give you any real, actual analysis. You lost to Daniel Jones. I don't really, and they're showing the same thing again, where they, are amazing, and in the regular season, then they go to the playoffs, and it's the cracks. I mean, you saw the cracks last season with them losing to the Lions.
Well, that's what I mean. I never believed in the Vikings at all last year.
They lost the Lions,
and they went 14-3. But then the first round they played the Rams, and they got destroyed.
Yeah,
so I'm comparing last year's Vikings to this year's Broncos in a way where it's like I don't believe in the team. Like maybe Denver winds up 13-4. But I don't, that doesn't mean anything to me. Like I see them as a team that they get in the playoffs, and they're not going to rise to the occasion against teams that are more equipped to win in the playoffs. You go through the AFC teams. I mean,
I don't think they're as fraudulent.
I don't think they're better than the Patriots.
Yeah.
I don't think they're better than the Colts. I don't think they're better than the Chargers. I don't think they're better than the Bills. I don't think they're better than the Chiefs. Like I don't. Even with the Ravens now coming on, like forget about the Ravens 4-5 record. They're not a 4-5 team. Like I think the Ravens are better than the Broncos. Like to me, like the Broncos are like the seventh best team in the AFC. It may seem crazy, but I really think it's the case.
Yeah, and I feel like it's different. I do think people know what the Chiefs are, and that the Broncos are definitely a worse team than that. Than the record shows. Yeah, the Broncos, even whatever the record is going to look like, they're definitely going to be. Whatever they're seeded, it's not going to be real seeding. It's who's going to be the best team in the AFC. You know who's the second best team in the AFC. You don't need whatever seeding Roger Goodell makes to tell you who's the best team in the.
And they've had a favorable schedule. I know the Patriots have. They're 9-2, but they've had a soft schedule, and their schedule's pretty soft the rest of the way. So some years you just get that soft schedule.
Shout out 2022 New York Giants.
Yeah, well, 2022 New York Giants are a good example, and it happens. You finish towards the bottom of the standings. Well, then you get a softer schedule, so you take advantage of it the next year. But again, I think it has an impact on your body of work, and you look okay 8-2, but let's look at who you played. And you know what? Fortunately for the Broncos, they're scheduled the rest of the way. They do play the Chiefs twice, and they play the Chargers. But then they have
Packers.
They are playing at Washington, at Las Vegas. They play the Packers, but at home.
So
then they play the Jaguars at home. So it's not a soft schedule, but you do have, even though it's the Commanders, you got them on the road. Even though it's on the road, you got the Commanders.
Yeah.
You got the Raiders on the road, and you got the Jaguars at home. It's not, again, it's not soft, but there's wins in there. Like you got to go beat Washington, you got to go beat Las Vegas. You got to beat the Jaguars at home. Right there's 11 wins. So it's not like they have a gauntlet the rest of the way, like the Giants' schedule for a lot of the season.
Yeah.
But they're going to be tested. You get the Chiefs twice. They get the Chargers again.
So, yeah, they're going to be tested, the Broncos, but, we'll see what Sean Payton and the defense does. I think that's going to give them a little bit of they could not be frauds because of that defense, but let's see how that defense is. We talk about that, but that offense gonna have to come to play as well, because the defense is only gonna do so much holding of the Chiefs because that offense gonna have to show up against the Chiefs as well. You can't expect Patrick Mahomes. You can't go in there. Sean Payton's hope cannot be, I want to lock up Patrick Mahomes. It's not gonna happen. You're going to have to – you could try your best to contain him if you think your defense is that good, but that offense is going to have to come out and do something for them.
Yeah, they're going to have to do something offensively today. So, again, I'm not a believer in them, but today will show us something. Today's a game where Denver has a chance to raise their stock and say, okay – they beat the Chiefs, and some people say the Chiefs aren't what they've been, but they're still the Patrick Mahomes led Chiefs. So if Denver goes out there and plays a good ball game today and takes care of the Chiefs, well then credit to them, and that raises their stock. But again, I'm still no matter what today going to be cautious with Denver. I don't see them as a team that's going to go deep in playoffs.
Yeah, I just caution with them, and also they still have a second-year quarterback. That quarterback. You put them against even a Chiefs team, and that's a team led by Steve Spagnuolo's defense. That's
the thing with these other teams in the AFC. It's Mahomes, it's Allen, it's Herbert, it's Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones, but but Daniel Jones has been really good. He's had a really good year where he's a lot better than Bo Nix right now.
Yeah.
And then the Patriots, Drake May. He's a
MVP candidate.
Yeah, so all those teams have
crazy to say that out loud, but he definitely is.
Yeah. All those teams have a significantly better quarterback right now than the Broncos do.
Yeah, and
the Ravens with Lamar Jackson
back. So we'll talk about Bengals Steelers. We get into that. It's a game that's big for the Pittsburgh. I think they're gonna have to get this win. We kind of talked about how they have a big shot of missing that playoffs, even if their record is over 500, it doesn't really mean a lot right now because they are in a position where they could miss the playoffs. So big game for them against the Bengals, who still, in their mind, think they can make the playoffs. So it's gonna be a game where Pittsburgh's gonna have to really battle for a win here. Which even with Joe Flacco's been a very good quarterback at his age, and he's been keeping them afloat for Joe Burrow, not really knowing if they can do a lot with that, but they've been keeping it up afloat. The Giants getting lucky, really lucky. Jordan Love and Josh Jacobs are out for the Packers. Not really know if they want to win, but the Bengals, they are a team that Steelers can definitely lose to. So, and the Steelers are in a position, I think, similarly to the Jaguars.
This is a must-win for the Steelers today.
Because
we talked about last week, you're probably only getting one team out of the NFC North. And Baltimore is now on Pittsburgh's heels. And Pittsburgh and Baltimore play twice. They haven't played each other yet. So I think today's a must-win for the Steelers. You were talking before the show about the Bengals possibly in the mix. I don't see that. If the Bengals want to be in the mix, they have to win today. But the problem for them, they are 2 games behind Pittsburgh, so they could cut it to 1. But the problem for them is Baltimore. Baltimore's a game ahead of them. Baltimore's got Lamar Jackson back. They're a different team now, So I don't consider the Bengals a factor. But if you want to say they're a factor, then they got to win today's game. But this is definitely a must-win for Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's already in trouble, but they absolutely have to win this game today.
Yeah.
Because Baltimore's going to win today. They play the Browns, right? Yeah. They're going to take care of the Browns. It's in Cleveland, but whatever. The Browns are terrible. The Browns are arguably worse than the Jets. They lost to the Jets, but So Baltimore, they're going to go to 5-5. So Steelers cannot afford to lose. They lose, they're 5-5, and they're already tied with Baltimore. And again, they play
Baltimore,
them
Lamar
twice.
Lamar comes back, So a huge game here for Pittsburgh. They gotta get that defense going against a team like the Bengals that are gonna really try to get you offensively. And even with Joe Flacco, they've been a very, very, very good offensive team. The defense has been shot, but the Steelers' offense has been shot. So it's kind of like, Bengals are kind of in perfect position because Steelers defense. Steelers offense hasn't been good, so it kind of bails out the Bengals defense not being as good as well. But Bengals are going to light you up offensively. They're going to have to. Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have to win this game defensively, and they have a lot, but big game for them to kind of win this game defensively because the Bengals are going to try to do a lot offensively with Jamar Chase with just the personnel they have there for the Bengals.
Well, the Pittsburgh should be scoring points in this game. The Bengals defense is so bad.
That offense is shot for the Steelers. They really are shot. But if there's a game to get them going, it's going to be this game.
Yeah.
They only have 7 points and 9 minutes left in the second. So
that's pretty ugly game so far.
They expect it, but that's big for I think the Steelers want the ugly game because I think the
Steelers got to show something offensively.
Yeah, they definitely do. It doesn't.
So far it's been a poor showing for them, but not that we're watching every play of the game, but we're tracking it. They got to show something offensively today against the Bengals. The Bengals defense is putrid. Seeing them against the Jets and seeing a little bit of them throughout the course of the season, but I watched the whole game against the Jets. That was one of the worst defensive performances you'll ever say. It was abysmal. And then they followed up the next week. What was the game they lost the next week? Against the Bears.
Yeah.
It's so pathetic, their defense. So, Pittsburgh doesn't show anything offensively today. They're just in massive trouble. I've already said I think Baltimore is going to keep rising. I think they're going to win the NFC North. And I think there's only one team coming out of that division. If you look at the standings, I just don't see how there's a second spot for the NFC North. AFC. I think I keep saying NFC. AFC North.
Yeah. Huge game. Another huge game. There's a lot of huge games this week, of course, with the divisional stuff. Seahawks, Rams. NFC West. This is big for them for their standings right there. You know, this is a team. I thought this would be a big game because the Seahawks have been great. Seahawks have been moving great with with JSN. Sam Darnold's been amazing this season. That defense has been very good, and then you have the Rams with Stafford, with Kyron, Puka, at Devontae Adams. Just their personnel's out of this world. So, um, and they have Sean McVay, so their personnel is out of this world. And big game, and Los Angeles at home and favored. What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like both of these teams are for real. I think the Rams more than the Seahawks,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean this is an intriguing matchup for sure. I mean, it's a division on the line. I think it's these two teams in divisions. That's San Francisco's 6-4, but I think it's the two of them for this division. It's in Los Angeles today, but I mean this is a marquee game. In the NFC West, to go a long way in deciding that division. I'm just going to the schedule. These two teams. Yeah, I just wanted to confirm it. They haven't played yet, so they're playing today in Los Angeles, and then they play in Seattle on December 18th. That's a Sunday night game. No, that's a Thursday night game. December 18th. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, which one of these teams you say is more for real, like really a contender to get to the Super Bowl? Come out of the NFC and even win the Super Bowl. But who do you consider more of a contender to go deep in the playoffs?
Well, I think the Rams, because they have done it before. The Seattle has been very good, but I think the Rams, since they have done it before, and Puka's on a different level, and Stafford's I trust a little bit more than Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
In a big time playoff situation. I mean, you look last season, he didn't really come up big for the Vikings last season, so you can see that and really go for that. That Stafford's been very good this season. Yeah. The way he played last season for the Vikings, the way they lost, and they've been we talked about them earlier this episode about how they were great, 14-3. We kind of knew they were not for real, but they needed to prove it that they weren't for real. So, Sam Darnold really proved our theory right that they weren't for real. And, but I mean, different team, defense better, coaching better,
First year coach. I mean, we'll see what this first year coach will do come playoff time. I just feel like these first year young coaches, like they come in with their schemes and their game plans and their ideas and their knowledge, and they're very smart and all that. But then it comes down to the big games, like can they rise to the occasion in those games? So I don't even know. I forget what the guy's name is. That coach
McDonald something.
So him going up against McVay today, like it's a good test for him. Like let's see him go against McVay is a young
Mike
coach.
McDonald, yeah.
And McVay started as a very young coach. Like he was like 31 when he took over. He's a special guy. Like he's one of those guys that's like, okay, I don't love hiring these young coaches, in their early 30s, mid 30s, but there are exceptions to rules. Like Sean McVay's clearly an exception to the rule. Maybe the guy in Seattle is too, but these two guys going head to head, like Sean McVay is one of the best head coaches in the NFL. He's you got Andy Reid, he's right up there, near the top. So a good test today for Seattle, but I'm with you. I favor the Rams. I favor the Rams because of the quarterback and because of the coach, So I mean, those are those two positions you look at in football: quarterback and coach, and that combination. So the Rams have a great one. So they're a team that is a very serious contender to get to the Super Bowl, get back there. I mean, they were there 4 years ago and they won it. So I think the Rams are for real.
Yeah, I think the Rams are definitely for real after they won the Super Bowl with this team, and they've gotten even better. Devontae Adams has been very good for them, and they just have the personnel to win at this level. And McVay's been very good, and Matthew Stafford just trusts him more than Sam Darnold, and trust their run game more for the Rams more than I trust Seattle's run game, because Kenneth Walker hasn't had the greatest season. Same with, they just have like a weird split with Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, so don't really trust that. Where the Rams can do it with the passing and run game with Kyron Williams, who's been very good this season, and you have on the outside you have Adams and Puka. So Sean Tucker takes it all the way for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, that game has
Been what we
very
expected, back
interesting and
forth.
entertaining so
Yeah.
far. I mean, that has the makings of a great finish. Those teams will probably go back and forth the whole game and both finish, with point totals in the upper 20s and the 30s. That is the makings of a game coming right down the wire.
Yeah. So we'll get to let's get to the late night game. Even the late night games are getting good now. We got Eagles Lions. Eagles are slight favorites, of course. That Eagles are slight favorites. They're on the road? No, they're at home. Slight favorites in Lincoln Financial. Big home field advantage there, as we talk about Highmark Stadium for the Bills. They also another big home field advantage, and big game. Goff versus that run game versus that run defense for the Eagles, and also vice versa. Detroit's run defense versus Philly with Saquon Barkley. Huge game here. Very big game. Is this game where the Eagles, I always feel like that their wins haven't been like, they haven't had a very, convincing season to me. Is this a game where, a more convincing team, but these are both two teams I feel like have cracks in them.
Yeah.
The thing about that too, the way I think about it is that the Eagles, this could be the game they get exposed, but also the Lions, this could be the game they get exposed. So, I think I have to go with the Eagles here.
Tough game to pick.
Yeah, because both teams I don't feel stalled about. I mean, they are great on paper. I mean, 6-3, 7-2, great teams. They're not like the Broncos at all. They've been there, done that. And their offense great, their defense great, but I feel like there's something about them that they're just going to crack. Also, the Lions haven't proved anything at all. Lost to a rookie QB last season, so I don't know. We saw what the Giants did against that run defense for the Eagles. We'll see if they have Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. See if they can really get at that. Big game tonight. Philly gets this win. They move to 8-2, and then they're in good position for the rest of the season. I mean, no matter what, they're in a good position. But big game for them. And the Lions, of course, win here would be very solid for them. Just proving that they could hang with a team like the Eagles, especially in Lincoln Financial, because they have had games where they haven't really proved it yet. I mean, at the end of the day, this is the Super Bowl winning team. Every team that wants to win the Super Bowl is going to have to not go through the Eagles. They might not even have to, but you know what I mean. This is the team you want to beat. This is the model for the NFL. Not like people can agree, whatever. For now, no matter what, the champion is always the model for the league and team you have to beat if you're the Lions. And they have big expectations, of course, with that personnel and Dan Campbell. Always big expectations there.
I feel like this is a game the Lions win. The Lions, I don't believe in them for the postseason. But I think this is like the type of game where they're, offensively, they just, they come out, they have a big game. The Eagles, they haven't been great this year. They flirted with danger. I mean, they lost to the Giants. I mean, they got manhandled by the Giants. That was a red flag game.
They beat the Giants, but it was
that Rams win was kind of fluky, right? With the blocked field goal, right? The Rams lined up to win the game. So I think the Eagles are kind of fortunate to be 7-2.
Also, the Rams are a pretty good team too. I mean, they like.
Yeah, but I mean, like the Rams were lined up for the field goal to win the field. And look, they blocked the kick. Credit to them. But I was saying, like the Eagles, it's like we said with the Broncos being 8-2. Like 8-2 is misleading. I think the 7-2 is misleading with Philly.
I think it's different because they're Philadelphia and that's Denver. I mean,
it is different, but I don't know. It's a tough game to pick. But I look at it as one of these games like Detroit. They're very good in the regular season.
They beat up on the Vikings team last year.
I can see doing one of these games. The Lions just come out and their offense is really clicking. Maybe what you said with the run defense, like they're able to somewhat contain Barkley, not let him have one of these huge games. Like I just see one of these games. Detroit comes out in the regular season, has a big win,
and they can run up the middle very well. As they show the Eagles. I mean, they've always been great up the middle of that defense, but they can show cracks, especially when the Giants beat them. Cam Scatterbo had his day, so imagine Jahmyr Gibbs with that lightning and with that just straight up running with David Montgomery. Going to be hard for them to contain if they couldn't contain Cam Scatterbo, who's a great running back. But still, I mean, if you can't contain that, then Dan Campbell calling that run game against you is going to be hard to contain as well. But we'll see if they made adjustments from that. They definitely did. They definitely were pissed off. And they made big-time adjustments. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think this is the best game to talk about. I mean, whatever.
Well, I'd say look at this. And this number is not the be-all and end-all because it could get inflated either way. If you have a great game or a bad game, you get blown out, big margin of victory. So point differential isn't the be-all and end-all, but it does tell you a little bit of a story. Maybe even more, actually more than a little bit. It tells you the story of a team to some degree. So Philadelphia's point differential for the season is plus 26. Detroit's plus 83. That's a big disparity. So that's again with the body of work. Philadelphia is 7-2, but the point differential is plus 26. Detroit's 6-3, but they're plus 83. So Detroit's point differential is almost 60 points. It's 57 points greater than Philadelphia. So again, I don't think point differential is be all and end all, but it does tell you something. So I think that's a factor. So I just kind of see one of these games where the Eagles,
Josh Allen's got.
I think they're kind of fortunate to be 7-2. So I like Detroit to win the game tonight. I don't like Detroit to go deep in the playoffs. I just, after that game last year, and then even the year before, where they were in the NFC Championship game and they had, was it a 17-point lead against San Francisco, and they gave it up. Like there's just something about them. I just think they're more of a regular season team. I don't know. Maybe that's unfair to them. But I don't trust them in the playoffs, especially after that loss last year. I mean, that their defense got blitzed. But, they're one of those teams where they'll rack it up in the regular season. So I think it's a game tonight where Detroit goes and racks it up in the regular season.
Yeah, I think.
But I'll say this. I trust Philly more in the playoffs than I do Detroit.
Yeah, I think it's a game where they get going running the ball. And, as we do, speaking of an update here, Josh Allen threw a pick to the Buccaneers.
What do you make of the Bills? I mean,
I don't know.
When does their window close? And it's going to be very tough in the win division. So they're probably going to be a wild card. I think they are. I don't think they're catching the Patriots. I mean, they're going to have to go to New England and win to have any chance. And even if they do go to New England and win, I still think the Patriots, when you look at the schedule, are the favorites to win the division. So let's say the Bills are going to be a wild card. They're going to be on the road probably for the whole playoffs. Are they going to be able to go through that path, to get to the Super Bowl? Because for them, it's about getting to the Super Bowl and, winning it. But they got to get there first. And, it just doesn't line up well for them. And then, how much longer is their window going to be open?
It's not long, but I think – they're spending a lot of money on that defense. The defense is going to be pretty solid, but I don't know where they spend money because they don't really have the greatest wide receiver core, and you know, they're putting Josh Allen to dry in these playoff games where he has great performances. I mean, it's Josh Allen. It just doesn't conduce to winning when it comes down there late. He always falls short to Mahomes, I feel like, and I, I feel like this is the year where the um where you know, I feel like a team like New England could definitely come in there and shock a Buffalo Bills team because Josh Allen's been making some mistakes. How as good as he is, as good as he is, as great as he is, he has games where he's not perfect. And when you play the Patriots and he's not perfect, they're gonna take advantage of you. Not like saying how much I really like the Patriots, but you play a team like the Patriots and you don't want to make those mistakes, especially how they're run with Mike Vrabel. Um, you cannot make mistakes against a team like that. And, Josh Allen's been making mistakes. So we'll see. And we'll see. Definitely a big test is this game. I mean, Josh Allen makes a mistake, throws an interception. Tampa Bay has the ball now. We'll see if that really turns into something. And we'll see if that happens again in the playoff game.
Yeah, I just wonder about that, man. Again, like not even so much for today. Like, I mean, right now they're down in this game. You said Allen threw a pick. But again, for them, it's all about getting to the Super Bowl, and they're not in a good position to get there. I just wonder how much longer their window is going to be open. They've had their chances. I mean, the heartbreaking loss last year against the Chiefs. They played them toe to toe, but again, didn't get it done. So it's just how much more do they have in this window to try to get to a Super Bowl and win one? And it doesn't look good this year. Again, if you're going to have to go on the road in the playoffs, get through 3 road games to get to the Super Bowl, like I don't see them doing that.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't. Against they're in a hard schedule. I mean, can we see if we can mock out who would they play? I mean, first they would play Pittsburgh, and not first they would play Patriots. Then who would they play if they beat the Patriots? I mean,
in the playoffs,
yeah, I mean Chiefs or something.
Well,
like
it depends on the seeding.
You have to play Patriots, and you have to play a team like the Chiefs, and it's going to be hard for them this season. And Josh Allen, you always have Josh Allen. You always have shots when you have Josh Allen. So we'll see. I mean, I don't feel like the window is like closing as much as like we make it out to be because whenever you have a player like Josh Allen, they're gonna be forced to make a team that could win around him, and you're always gonna have a shot with a player like him. But I mean,
yeah, I don't necessarily think the window is closed. As long as they have Josh Allen, I think their window is going to be open. But they just keep going year after year and not getting to the Super Bowl. So it just doesn't bode well for them this year. It's just another year, so it's another year where they get closer to their window closing whenever that is.
Yeah, I mean,
and this is another year coming to the season. It's like, oh, this could be their year. People think it is their year, and it just doesn't look like their year. I don't see how this becomes their year.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for them. I mean,
I don't see them being a team that's going to go on the road and win 3 in a row. I don't. They're not,
that home field advantage is always great for them.
Yeah.
They have great fans. They do great. But I do feel like it's a bit hard. I mean, you have to win on the road against Patriots, Chiefs, teams like that. And it's going to be very difficult for them. As good as Josh Allen is, I mean, if there's a player that can go on the road and win a game like that, you would think a talent like Josh Allen could do it. But, I wouldn't put it – I definitely think it's more likely that they do come up short on the road.
Yeah, I mean, is this a year where maybe you could do it? I mean, I'm looking at the standings, say –
I mean, is the Patriots really, really, really that real? You think the experience of Josh Allen picks them apart,
Oh, I think Buffalo could go to New England and win.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's any year that Buffalo could go on the road and win 3 playoff games, I mean, say you got to go to Baltimore, you got Baltimore, Denver, Indianapolis, New England. I mean, can they go beat those teams?
Yes.
3 consecutive games on the road? I mean, they can.
Yeah.
But it's like
It's not
they
ideal.
they
It's not
they
ideal.
could beat each of those teams in one game on the road, but can they do it 3 weeks in a row? That's really tough to do.
Yeah, I mean, what are you listing at again? I mean, Baltimore, Broncos, Colts. Wait, what else do you list?
Colts and the Patriots.
I could see them beat. I think Daniel Jones. I could see them. You really, I mean, Daniel Jones. His only experience.
They could go and beat any of these teams on
Yeah.
the road, but it's a matter of can they go and beat them 3
Yeah,
weeks in
because
a
then
row?
you play. Yeah, then I mean, then you play the Colts, and maybe you're beat up. I mean, after a big time game, and then the Colts can definitely, if you're off your A game, any of those teams can kind of beat you. I mean, especially maybe the Broncos. Maybe if you're like off a little bit, you could beat the Broncos. But even them, I mean, you're off your game. Sean Payne can really pick you apart. He's a great mind. So, it's gonna be hard for them. No matter what year it is. But this is a year where I mean, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for them to come in there with Josh Allen. But wild card puts them in a very disadvantage. It's not ideal to even want to even try to beat those teams. It's not ideal.
Yeah, it clearly isn't. I mean, it's a very tough path. I mean, it's done before. It's been done before, but not much. It's just not. It's just obvious. It's just not the ideal path to get to a Super Bowl. And again, like this is a team's been knocking on the door, and is this their year? People saying it is their year.
I always think they're missing that guy at wide receiver. I mean, I think that's very personnel based analysis, but it's what they're missing. That remember when they had Stephon Diggs, they wasn't the best for them, but they made it farther, and just feel like now they're missing that, Diggs guy. Not like Diggs right now, definitely. Diggs right now they wouldn't really need, but something like that. Definitely they're missing with Shakir. I mean, being limited and Keon Coleman being like they have a whatever wide receiver core when it comes to playoff time. I mean, they're making a good living playing that wide receiver core for Josh Allen, but they're not ideal when you go into a game like that. I think it's easier to guard them like that, especially for a team with Mike Bravel or Sean Payton. They're going to realize that right away, that we can kind of, send more at Josh Allen because, they don't have the wide receivers over the top that we trust to beat our corners. You know what I mean? Because they're going to have Surtain, they're going to have players like that. They're going to guard those wide receivers. We can trust one-on-one against those wide receivers. So we'll see. I mean, they're going to play against good minds. We'll see if they can come out there and really win.
Well, they got to win today if they're going to have a chance at the division.
And also Buccaneers are a team on that level, maybe on the other side of the league, but a team that's kind of their speed up to their like matchmaking level. Like if you were to make matchmaking, skill-based matchmaking, this would be a very good skill-based matchmaking game for them.
So why don't we talk some Knicks and NBA?
Yeah, I mean, the Knicks, they lost OG Anunoby. I was at the game. OG Anunoby hamstring strain out. I mean, they're definitely going to stay on the side of caution with him. Definitely want to. Injury. He just walked to the locker room. Be out for about 2 weeks to reevaluate him. But that stuff, you want to be, especially if you're a team like the Knicks now that are looking forward to the, championship, June basketball. You don't really want to be worrying about it about whether better to rest him now. I mean, not rest him, but you're on the side of caution because you don't want him to strain again because he's had hamstring stuff. Even in the playoffs, going back to the Indiana series. What was that? Not last season, but that other Indiana series where the Knicks were banged up, went to Game 7. That series where they were looking good until OG kind of strained his hamstring and he was out for the whole entire season. I tried to come back in Game 7, but didn't look good. Why don't you on the side of caution with a play like that? Very, very important with them. Defense going to have to take a big hit. He's been very good on both sides of the ball, but we know even when he comes back, he'll be very good on both sides of the ball. It's not like, a new thing for him. With him, you're going to have to be on the side of caution because he's going to be your big X factor and if you win or not. Because there's great scorers all around the league and all around the Eastern Conference, all around basketball, you need OG Anunoby. As good as Mikal been defensively, you're gonna need OG Anunoby. And then Brunson. I mean, do we really need to talk about how much the Knicks need Brunson? Out for a few days with that ankle sprain. Always ankle. Small guards really had that ankle stuff. Steph Curry had ankle stuff when he was, younger. Not at the same level as Jalen Brunson. Ankle injury. I don't think that's the same injury. But you want to keep those small guards. You want to rest them if they have ankle sprains and stuff like that. You don't want to risk mobility, and when you get later in the playoffs, so you don't want to rush. So it's just about not rushing these guys back, definitely. But still, you want to get them on the court as soon as possible. You don't want to lose games. But Knicks have a talented enough team to get some wins. You see them against Miami. They were missing OG for basically the whole entire game. He got hurt in the first quarter, limped to the locker room, and Brunson was out already before the game. So see a team like that, they still were hitting on all cylinders. Landry Shamet had 36 at the game where they were chanting Landry Shamet's name, which is probably the greatest moment for him in his life. But, great for him to have that game. And you see Cat if you're Carthy Towns, big time, few games for him. Got to learn, got to step up. Maybe that can carry him to later in the season, carry his mentality, let's score. I'm that talented guy. The offense is going to revolve around me. So great game to watch him play. I mean, he was shooting some shots from the logo. But great game from him. Show that three ball again. Good to see him get those threes off and get him going. And he really looked like he was a mismatch for them down low. So just getting a guy like that the ball and getting him in the right mentality where he's the number one option now, understanding that could be very good for the rest of the season.
So I'm looking at the standings, and I'm just really curious about the competition, because you assess your team and what goes on, internally and what your team's doing on the court. Obviously, that's important. But the competition is important too. So how do you assess the competition so far? I mean, what sticks out to me is Detroit at 11-2. So the competition within the East, I mean, Cleveland's 9-5 so far. And then if you go outside the conference, which isn't as important because you got to get through the conference first, but you look at Oklahoma City, who's just totally dominant, and Denver's off to a great start. Looks like Houston is off to a pretty good start. I mean, what's your assessment of the competition and what stands out to you most in terms of the Knicks? Like, let's make this a Knicks-centric thing. So is it Detroit? You're looking at Detroit 11-2, or what's your takeaway with the Knicks competition in terms of getting to the finals? And then if you want to touch on the West, you could do that as well.
Well, I mean, I'm not really looking at Toronto at all right now. I really am not. They're going to have to prove it to me. But, Detroit really they're winning games without some key guys. I mean, they show the effort, but, they have to prove it to me. With the shooting and everything, they're really going to have to prove it to me also. Even if they are 11-2, they're a great team. Kate Cunningham's been taking another step. I mean, that's scary for the Knicks, having that. I mean, Kate Cunningham's entered superstar territory. I think, in my opinion, superstar territory. Number one pick, living up to that. So they have a superstar, and they have guys around him that have been playing very well. Jalen Duren been playing very well. So, just want to watch that team the rest of the season. I mean, they haven't proved to me that, like, I'm shaking my boots about them. I mean, they could definitely. I wouldn't be surprised if they knocked us out in the playoffs. Definitely wouldn't. But, not shaking my boots about them. I mean,
it's the series last year was a very competitive series. I mean, it went 6.
They didn't have Ivy. I mean, they're missing him this start of the season.
So it's fair to say they're a legitimate contender.
Yes.
In the East. I just wonder how good they are.
I wasn't expecting. I was expecting this from Detroit. I was expecting a big leap from them. Not 11-2, of course, but I was kind of bracing for this. I mean, they were going to really come out there and be good. I mean, there's players that need to take there's players that are ready to take a step up for them. Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren, players that even Jaden Ivey coming back for them. Players that didn't take a step up, but are, I feel like, in my opinion, very good players that are going to take a step up. So and even Kate Cunningham, he was still had room to grow. So that's scary to say, but he's growing in every level as well. Still at his age. So, I was bracing for that. It's not 11-2. I mean, Ty Johnson down the sideline for Buffalo. They scored a touchdown, 21-17. So, was kind of bracing for a big time Pistons.
A big season.
Yeah, big season. Not 11-2, of course. Definitely not saying I was predicting that because they've been a very good team this season. Been great, but predicting for they still have room to grow, and they have grown they have grown, and I was expecting that for them. So good to see them. I mean, not good, but like you know what I mean. Good to see their young guys getting ready and getting ready for this playoffs because that's where they want to be. They're going to be as young as they are. They're looking for the top right now. Their eyes are set on the top. Their eyes are set on the Larry O'Brien. As crazy as it sounds, I mean, every team at that level, if you start at that level, they're looking for that. So getting those young players.
Well, I think for them, it's a really good year to get to the NBA Finals. I mean, you have an Eastern Conference where there is no great team. You know, from the Knicks' perspective too, like it lines up really well. It's like you don't have a juggernaut standing in your way. Like 2 years ago, the Celtics were really, really good, so they clearly stood in the way. You know, but this year, like if you're one of the good or very good teams in the East, which there's only a few of them, so if you're Detroit, New York, Cleveland, I mean, who else really? Like for all three of those teams, it's like, okay, there's a path to the finals. You know, so, you know, with our show, and we talk from a Knicks-centric point of view, you know, so we've been talking about Cleveland being a contender, maybe Orlando, you know, but you look at Detroit, and we talked about Detroit too, going into the season, early on in the season, but now, you know, they're 11-2. And I think back to last year's playoff series. I mean, that was a very competitive playoff series. I mean, Detroit played the Knicks better than Boston did the next round.
Yeah.
I mean, that series in the first round, I mean, they split the first two games. So Detroit won game 2 at the Garden, and Detroit won 2 out of 3 at the Garden because they wound up winning game 5. Now, to the Knicks' credit, the Knicks won all 3 games in Detroit. But if I remember correctly, games 3 and 4 were nail biters. Knicks pull them out the end, and game 6.
One game, Carlton Towns was just shooting stuff up, and
was game 6 a nail biter too?
I think, but Brunson crossover game winner, ankle breaker
in game 6.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean that series was neck and neck. I mean, I easily could have won 7 games, and I think you could make the argument that Detroit could have won that series. So, like, Detroit's there. I mean, they, you know, are they the Knicks' main competition in the East?
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of there. Yeah, then they are, but I think you definitely got to look out for other teams like Cleveland. I mean,
I just don't.
Yeah,
Cleveland.
I don't.
You saw them last year win 64 games. They went out like paper tigers. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't believe in Cleveland either, but I mean,
I picked them to go to the finals.
Yeah, you picked them. You did, and I was like thinking
because I don't believe in the Knicks because I think the Knicks are going to mess it up somehow. You know, I don't know. Maybe it's unfair to the Knicks. I'm holding the history against them. Yeah, I should have picked Detroit to make the finals because really, like, I don't believe in Cleveland. I know, like, that contradicts the pick I made, but it was like I had to pick somebody, and I just really wasn't thinking of Detroit as this being their year. But maybe it is. And then, like, I don't know, Jack. Maybe I'm being unfair to the Knicks. Maybe I'm holding against this Knicks team, the history of the franchise. But what I do think comes into play is the pressure. There's so much pressure for the Knicks because the fan base is so starved for not only a finals appearance. That's not going to be enough. Like, you got to win the championship. But, like, the fan base is so starved for a finals appearance and an NBA title. Like, I think they can handle the pressure, but it really is immense pressure. I think that does factor in. So I don't really think for me it's like, oh, they're going to succumb to the Knicks' history. Like, that really doesn't mean much. Like, it's a different culture now with the Knicks, and it seems like the culture's pretty good. But the pressure's going to build and build and build in that playoff run, and then you have a team like Detroit. You know, maybe it's just they play a little freer. They're not feeling that type of pressure. I know it's been a while since they've won a championship, but not as long. And it's New York, it's the Garden, like it's the bright lights, it's the big city, it's the biggest stage. Like there's just a lot of pressure that comes with that.
Yeah, I do think if the Detroit gets there, they're starved as well. And I mean, you're not like New York, not like that, but yeah, I think that Detroit's not going to be playing like, with no pressure if they get to that point. I mean, if they get to that point, they're going to try to win it all, and there's going to be pressure for them. They're a younger unit as well. They're a younger unit than the Knicks as well. Less experience. So, not saying their pressure is going to be as immense as the Knicks, not at all. But if they get there, big time pressure from Detroit. I mean, they haven't.
Yeah, it's not that they're going to be immune from pressure. Of course, there's a lot of pressure for all these teams. As they advance and they get deeper in the playoffs. Yeah, of course, there's pressure. I just think with the Knicks, there's this immense pressure, and it's going to build. And
it's where they play, and how many picks they gave up to get in there. Done. This is the team they crafted together.
Yeah, I again, look, when it comes to the Knicks, it really is finals or bust for them this year. You look at this, and they do have a very good team, and you look at the path. It's like you got to get to the finals. I know we're sitting here in mid November. We get this whole regular season to go through, but that's what it's all about for this Knicks team. And it's guys being healthy. So you get some guys injured right now. Okay, it's not going to be a factor. Come playoff time, you want everybody healthy at that time. So okay, you go through some injuries through the regular season, but I just can't help but think long term with the Knicks and that it's all about a deep playoff run. It's all about getting at least to the finals. And now you got this Detroit team that I know it's early, but 11-2, it just catches your attention. And again, I do think that was a very competitive series in the first round last year. So I think the Knicks are going to have their hands full with Detroit. I didn't envision them before the year being that team.
And Detroit's going to want revenge. Not they're always going to want to win the playoffs, but Detroit's going to want revenge. I mean, they lost in a heartbreaking fashion where Brunson took the ankles of their best player and crossed them over and won that. So they're going to want revenge after that Game 6 where Brunson put on a historic highlight to win that series. So
I mean, would you say right now the Knicks are the favorite in the East?
Yeah, I would say for sure. But I wouldn't say that I would say that if Detroit keeps us up, I mean, with Kate Cunningham, they have a superstar. Not like they don't. Not like they're a team with a bunch of mid-tier players. They have superstars, and they have not superstar. They have a superstar, and they have a guy that's looking to be a star in Jalen Duren. And so they're a team that if they get going, I mean, I could definitely see where they're favored. I mean, but I do think it's going to be the next Eastern Conference to lose with what their team put together. I mean, they have a bunch of stars. I think the Pistons have one superstar, and Jalen. They have a bunch of stars and a superstar. That's what the Knicks have, and the Pistons have one superstar and a bunch of one's star, but they have. So it's just the personnel is way better for the Knicks. But if Detroit gets it going, keeps it going. I wouldn't hate if somebody went up to me today. I wouldn't be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" If somebody said, I think Pistons are going to win the East, I wouldn't be like, "Whoa, what are you talking about?" You're just a hater. No, I wouldn't think that. I think that you are honestly.
I agree with you. I think it is the Knicks for the taking, but I'm just so hung up on the Knicks finding a way not to get it done. It's unfair to them. It really is. But I just think now with Detroit, the start to the season, it's here comes this Detroit team. They're ahead of schedule. They played the Knicks very tough last year. It's just they're this year.
We have Jalen Brunson.
They're this year's Indiana that really comes along, and then they're the team that's going to knock the Knicks out in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah. But again, we have Jalen Brunson. They don't. So when it comes to pressure, I feel like the best person to deal with pressure, well,
how good is Kate Cunningham? Could he be the guy that really this year, right now, how many years have been in the league now?
3, 4.
Yeah, I mean, is this his year? Is he, is he going to be like Halliburton for Indiana?
I mean, he was based yeah, I think that. But 24 years old, but I think you invest in OG. You pay OG Anunoby for moments like that. You don't want a Halliburton, so OG did a very good job with him last season, in my opinion. I mean, he did. I just don't trust their shooting. I think that they lost Malik Beasley for his gambling stuff. He got something with gambling, so I think he can now join a team. He wants to join the Pistons. So, but they miss him. They lose to Tim Hardaway Jr. who's been very solid for the 49% from three for the Nuggets. Not like they actually keep up, but they're losing a lot of shooters. Not like those guys are like superstars, but they're missing a lot of guys, and they think they can replace that with Jaden Ivey. But Jaden Ivey is also not a good 3-point shooter as well. I mean, they're just losing a bunch of shooting, in my opinion. That's a lot to lose, especially the way the Knicks can just get away with like leaving guys open, not leaving guys completely open, but helping inside. But I mean, they lost a lot of key people to that team last year. I mean, Pistons are looking even better, but they lost key players last season. The Pistons did with that shooting. But I mean, and they didn't really bring in a lot of guys to help that shooting. And I think they think that natural progression instead of bringing in guys is better for them. But who knows? So yeah, I mean, they don't have the shooting, I feel like, that can go all the way, in my opinion. They play the 112 Pistons today. Not Pacers. Talk about the Pacers are terrible.
Yeah,
awful. I mean, I feel bad for them. I don't feel bad for them at all. Actually, I feel great. Actually, that's a terrible thing to say. But
well, I know you, man.
Yeah,
you're not rooting for serious injuries.
Yeah,
or injuries
I mean,
at all.
Achilles.
But you're saying like you don't feel bad.
Yeah, if they came back and they were fully healthy next season, they would be a team that definitely up there again.
Yeah.
for the taking.
I get what you were saying.
Yeah,
you're a Knicks fan, and you get the Pacers.
They're not rooting for somebody to.
You're not feeling bad for Pacers fans. You can say that.
Yeah, I feel bad for Halliburton. I mean, don't want anybody.
Yeah, of course. Of course. But I get what you're saying in terms of fans, and you're not feeling sorry for the fans.
Yeah, and then they miss Obi Toppin for 2 months, so they have their injuries, and they're 1-12, terrible. They're getting their boy TJ McConnell back. Who's hate to see him.
How good is Oklahoma City? I mean, it seems like an easy question.
It's ridiculous. They're they're missing like Jalen Williams, who was an all-star last season and could be even better at his age. Like at his age, progression's normal. Like it's normal for a guy to progress, and he can get even better. So you're looking at a team with, I mean, let's look at Jalen Williams' age. I mean, he's coming off an injury. He could come back with that wrist. 24 years old, 21 points per game, 48 from the field. Last season, he can get even better. Progression is not like it's usually going to happen for a 24-year-old, and they're winning games without him, like handily. They beat a team in the Warriors by a lot of so many points. They beat how much did they beat the Warriors are a team that is in contention, and they just manhandled them in the Western Conference. And not like the Warriors are bad at all. They're really good, and they 126-102 held Steph Curry to 11 points on 30% from the field shooting. So that's a team that
it looks like Oklahoma City is gonna repeat.
Yeah.
What about like is Denver?
Denver,
you
always have
Oklahoma
a shot.
City is serious.
You always have a
run.
shot with Jokic. I think they went to 7. You always have a shot with Jokic. Jokic is such a hard guy to guard, and especially if they get the shooting with Tim Hardaway, with Aaron Gordon, who's been very well. You get Jamal Murray going. They're going to be a team that's going to – I mean, OKC is definitely going to be, like, not shaking in their boots, as I say, as a Knicks fan. But, they can really put them on edge. I think that they can – I think the Thunder are going to beat them. But I think they took them to 7 last season, and they have a better team, in my opinion. Yeah. But even though Cam Johnson had a good start to the season, and you see Michael Porter Jr. is doing in Brooklyn. But,
Yeah, Oklahoma City is a big problem in terms of
the West.
The Knicks trying to win a championship, or who the teams in contention. Like, from a Knicks perspective, like again, the Knicks finals are bust. They have to get there, but who's beating this Oklahoma City team? It seems like they're better than last year, and last year they were amazing. I mean, they won 60+ games last year, right? And obviously won the title.
Well, yeah,
but they look like they're even better this year. I mean, who's beating them?
Yeah, the Rockets are 8-3, and they're really not anywhere close to Thunder. I mean, number one option Kevin Durant. I don't really think they have a shot. I mean, then you look down Lakers, Spurs. I mean, it's a lot. Like even those teams are 8-4, 8-5, but they're nowhere close to what the Thunder are, and it's big disparity between them. I mean, like Timberwolves have got it going, but they're a team that I think that. I mean,
is Oklahoma City 70+ wins good, or are they going to pace themselves and
they're trying
load
to. I think they're
management,
trying
and
to taste.
they're not going to get the 70 just because they're not going to go for it. But it seems like if they went for it,
13
they'd be a
1.
team that could win 70 games.
I don't know. They could. They definitely could. Win 70 games. Spurs. I mean, another team with Wemby. You know, Wemby as like a figure could definitely cause them problems. But you know, Thunder are in very good position to win again. Especially the West is great. Take Thunder away from the West. The West is still very good. Like, I mean, I know like Thunder's, but I mean, you look at
well, there's depth there. I mean, the Lakers are off to a good start, and
you
got the
talking about them.
Timberwolves.
Yeah.
The Rockets. I don't really believe in the Rockets, but yeah, I mean, the West is better than the East, and it's deeper than the East.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing for Oklahoma City. Like they have a tougher path,
but I mean, still they're
in the
just
West, but they're so good that it's going to take a lot to beat them in a 7-game series.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, I think that's. I mean, big. Knicks are looking to get OG back, Jalen Brunson back, but they're gonna have to take their time with that. And then we talked about, Knicks are in trouble in the Eastern Conference as wide open as it is. I mean, there's still teams there, and it's gonna be hard for it's gonna be very difficult for them to get to the finals, and then you see the Thunder. So we'll see. I mean,
yeah. I mean, again, it's mid-November, and we're so far off of the playoffs. But again, like when you talk Knicks, even just talk NBA, like to me, it's about the teams that have a chance to go deep in the playoffs, have a chance to get to the finals, have a chance to win a championship. A lot of the league just doesn't have that chance. So the regular season, it's long, and it's like you try to find meaning in it, which there is, but it really is about the big picture, the long term. And again, like to be fair to the Knicks, I mean, the Knicks have a team to get to the finals. Like it is finals or bust. Again, me personally, I'll repeat myself. I don't know. It's the Knicks. I always think like something's going to go wrong at some point. But that isn't fair to this current team. So I'm like, take that out of the equation. Look, I mean, it's not a cakewalk to the finals for the Knicks. I mean, there's going to be some competition there. I mean, it looks like Detroit and Cleveland. I don't know if there is any other competition. But they're not an overwhelming favorite to get to the finals. And maybe you want to say they are the favorite in the East. It's debatable. But in one sense, you got to feel good. Like, hey, the Knicks are in a spot where they could get to the finals. It lines up for if they're healthy, clicking at the right time. They have a good regular season where the team gels and they go into the playoffs, really ready to go. You got to feel good about that. But,
yeah.
But looking at trying to win a championship with Oklahoma City standing in the way and how amazing they are, I mean, that doesn't bode well for anyone. I mean, that looks like a team that's going to be very tough to beat this year.
Yeah, a team that's just even going to get better, and they're very good, and they're gonna get even better when they get Jalen Williams back from the wrist injury. So we'll see. I mean, the West is a gauntlet, but it's gonna be the Thunder are gonna be up at top. So, and it's hard to really. I think the Nuggets are a team that it's fun to watch, and they could be a team you could take a lot out of. But you talk about it, and it's just it's about the Thunder in that Western Conference. So it's all about beating the Thunder, and we'll see. I mean, it's hard to repeat, but they looked in very control to repeat. So, I mean, it's mid-November, but
yeah, and the NBA is a league where historically it's been full of repeat winners and dynasties. So
yeah,
It's not like MLB where, it's 25 years before a team repeated, and the team that just repeated, did that in amazing fashion, right? In 7 games, the Dodgers,
Yeah.
So in the NBA, it's much more common. You've had dynasties, so I mean, the Thunder, it looks like are overwhelming favorites to repeat.
Yeah. The Thunder, yeah, they're going to be a team that the Knicks are gonna have to beat, and it's gonna be a tall task. So we'll see how the rest of the regular season goes, and we'll be watching the rest of the games. And we'll be watching the rest of the games they go through. I mean, big games, 425 is Chiefs Broncos, other big games going down there. So we'll definitely see that, and we'll talk about that maybe next episode. And as the playoffs get set, I mean, seeing even the Steelers and Bengals game, and we'll kind of have a bigger picture to assess about that side of the league.
Chiefs get it done today.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs get it done too. I think that they are.
And if they don't, I'm still going to say that the Broncos are not going to do anything in the playoffs. So it's not going to change my mind on that. But
because the Chargers are very good.
I think today is where the Broncos get exposed.
Okay.
They're not. They'll do well against the Chiefs' offense. Their defense, I think their defense will play well, but they're not going to be able to do enough. Mahomes, the offense, they'll have a certain level of success, but the struggles on offense for Denver, I think will also continue and cost them.
The Chiefs understand that one thing about their experience. They understand what these games mean, and they understand this game is big for them. So they're gonna come in there and not like Sean Payton is oblivious. I mean, he understands what's at stake too. But been there, done that. They understand. The Chiefs understand they need to get this win here. So I think they're gonna do whatever they can to do it.
If they want any chance to win a division, they have to win today. I think that's gonna motivate them. I mean, they're always motivated. To the Chiefs, they're great. They're champions. But I think them looking at, hey, we have to win today to have a chance to win the division, and winning the division is important. At least getting one home game in the playoffs. I think that's gonna propel them to getting this win in Denver today. It'll be interesting. Certainly, 425, as you said.
Yeah, big game. See, it's gonna be big after that game. See if the Broncos get this win, and how, if they get a win, and how they will get it. So we'll definitely, if the Broncos get the win, we'll definitely reconvene about that, and we'll talk and see how they got the win. If we think that our opinion has changed or whatever. Not like we think that's gonna happen, but if it does, it does, and we'll reconvene and we'll talk about our thoughts on the Broncos next week. So, and all the other things happening in the league.
Yeah, then maybe some baseball soon. I mean, nothing right now. It's kind of quiet. Winter meetings in a few weeks. So, if anything big happens in baseball with the offseason, we'll certainly talk about it.
And we'll talk about the Bills lose this game, see what kind of unravels there. I mean, still looking in good shape, but see if we change our opinion on the Bills and stuff like that. But whatever, we'll reconvene next week, because these are some big games that could kind of change our opinion. But big games going on. Giants 13-13 against the Packers. Are missing Josh Jacobs, Jordan Loves. But the Giants are tied up with the Packers, so we'll take it as you will. Peace, have a nice day, and let's go Knicks.